There is a book that was removed from the Bible, not lost, not forgotten, deliberately removed from history, found in Ethiopia, hidden in scrolls, quoted in the Testament. And what it describes, the origin of the Watchers, has never been adequately explained by mainstream scholarship. This is what the texts actually say. The Book of Enoch is one of the oldest religious texts ever discovered. Scholars date it to approximately 300 BCE. For centuries, it was considered lost to Western civilization. Then, in 1773, Scottish explorer James Bruce returned from Ethiopia carrying 3 complete copies. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church had preserved it for over 1,500 years, treating it not as mythology, but as sacred scripture. In 1947, fragments of the Book of Enoch were found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, meaning it was studied by scholars. The early Christian church fathers, Tertullian, Origen, Clement of Alexandria, quoted it directly. The Epistle of Jude in the New Testament cites it word for word. So, why was it removed from the biblical canon in 364 AD at the Council of Laodicea? The official answer, non-canonical. The unofficial answer becomes clear when you read what it actually says. The Book of Enoch describes a group called the Watchers. According to the text, they were sons of God, assigned to observe humanity. 200 of them made a collective decision. They descended to Mount Hermon, a real mountain on the border of modern Syria, Lebanon, and Israel, and took human wives. Their leader was named Semyaza. His lieutenants had names Azazel, Armaros, Barakiel, Kokabiel. Each name corresponds to a specific domain of forbidden knowledge. Azazel taught metalworking, specifically weapons and armor. The text says, "He taught men to make swords, and knives, and shields, and breastplates." Barakiel taught astrology. Kokabiel, whose name means Star of God, taught the science of constellations. Others taught enchantments and root cutting. And, most disturbingly, the art of warfare. The result, according to Enoch, was catastrophic. The offspring of the Watchers and human women became Nephilim. These were giants who consumed humanity's resources and turned against their creators. The Book of Enoch describes God's response. God's response, a global flood to reset civilization. Sound familiar? Mainstream biblical scholars treat the Watchers as metaphorical. Dr. George Nicholsburg argues the Watchers represent a theological explanation for the origin of evil, a metaphor for human corruption. That's a reasonable interpretation. But other researchers point to specific details that are harder to dismiss as pure metaphor. Mount Hermon, where the Watchers allegedly descended, is a real location. The text gives its coordinates with unusual precision for an ancient document. The names of the Watchers correspond to actual ancient deity names found in Mesopotamian, Canaanite, and Phoenician religious texts. Dr. Michael Heiser spent years analyzing the Watchers' texts. His conclusion: the ancient Israelites genuinely believed in a divine council, a hierarchy of supernatural beings who interacted directly with humanity. The Watchers weren't metaphor. They were literal historical entities. And then there's the physical evidence. At the base of Mount Hermon, archaeologists discovered a temple dedicated to Pan. It dates to the Hellenistic period, but beneath it, evidence of worship stretching back thousands of years earlier. The site was considered sacred. Why Mount Hermon specifically? Why does this one mountain appear in Enoch, in Canaanite mythology, and in the New Testament? Jesus' transfiguration occurs on a high mountain that many scholars identify as Hermon. Coincidence is one answer. Pattern is another. Here is what we know with certainty. The Book of Enoch existed. It was preserved for thousands of years. It was deliberately excluded from the biblical canon. The Watchers it describes appear in some form in nearly every ancient culture. Beings who descended, transmitted forbidden knowledge, and produced offspring. The Anunnaki in Sumerian texts, the Apkallu in Babylonian tradition, the fallen angels in Jewish mysticism, the Titans in Greek mythology. The same story, different names. Separated by thousands of miles. Either humanity's ancestors independently invented identical myths, or they were all remembering the same event. The texts of Enoch were hidden for over 1,000 years. What they describe has never been fully explained. Who were the Watchers? The answer may depend on whether you trust the scholars or the texts themselves. Tell us what you think in the comments. Do you believe these ancient accounts are literal or just myths? Subscribe to Beyond Explained, new mysteries every week. Join us as we uncover the secrets hidden in history's shadows. The truth is often more complex than we are told. Stay curious.